Hi everyone, my name is Nisha and welcome to Practice Test Academy. In this video, we're going to work through basic arithmetic questions. These are the foundation of every numerical reasoning test you will encounter. It's very important. We've got 10 questions today under 5 topics as you can see. So if you find this video helpful, please hit and subscribe, because we will be releasing videos for every numerical reasoning topic. Let's get right on it. Let's look at our first question. 4 plus 3 into 5 minus 2. Now, I want you to, if you look at the order here, we don't have any brackets. We don't have any order. What we do have is we have a multiplication, we have addition, we have subtraction. Why won't you pause your video at this point and try to solve it yourself? Okay, let's go through the answer together. Since I mentioned we only have addition, multiplication and subtraction, the order has to be, if you look at BODMAS, the order has to be multiplication. We have BODMAS here. This would be brackets, orders, that would be maybe power or square root, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. What do we have in this question? What we do see in this question is we see multiplication, we see addition, and we see subtraction. Therefore, we need to start with our multiplication at the very basics. We need to first multiply. We need to multiply from left to, we need to multiply 3 is to 5. First we get 3 is to 5, 15. Then we can put 4 plus, we have the answer here, 15 minus 2. Now we need to do addition and subtraction. Addition and subtraction can be done together. This will be 19 minus 2. The answer will be 17. The correct answer is option C, which is 70. Now, if you look at option A, which is 33, it looks right if you work straight left to right and if you ignore BODMAS. Why? You do 4 plus 3, that is 7. 7 into 5, that is 35. Minus 2, that gives 33. This is a trap for students who do not follow the order of operations. Remember, multiplication has to always come before addition and subtraction. This is the trap some students might face. Move on to the second one. We have operations and BODMAS. This is a medium difficulty question. As you can see, we have more things here added. Your opportunity to pause the video, attempt it on your own, and come back. Now let's look at it step by step. Here we have more operations. We have brackets. Therefore, this should be step 1. We have orders. We have power and root. This would be step 2. Then we have division. Division would be step 3. And then we have multiplication, which would be step 4. And then finally, we can do this. First, we'll do step 1, which is 18 minus 6. 18 minus 6 is 12. Then we can go to step 2, which would be the power. That would be 3 into 3, which would be 9, because 3 to the power of 2 means 3 into 3. Then we can go to step 3, which would be the division and the multiplication. We can actually take them as one step. To do this, I'm just going to combine the answers we did so far. We have the first step, which is 12. I input that answer here. Divided by 4, that's not solved, plus 9 into 2. Then to solve step 3, we can do the division and the multiplication. So 12 divided by 4 will be 3 plus 9 into 2 will be 18. If you want, you can put this within brackets at this stage to just make it easier for you. And then finally, we can do our addition. So 18 plus 3 is, this would be step 4. 18 plus 3 is 21. Your answer will be 21 will be your answer. Remember, you need to handle based on the order of operations. Resolve the brackets, then the power, then divide, then multiply before you can add. Now let's move on to question 3. Now this is relating to fractions, decimals and percentages. It's an easy question. Remember, percentages, fractions, decimals are interchangeable forms of the same value. They are different forms of showing the same value. For an instance, if I was to write, just to make it simple, as a percentage, we'll say 20%. I can show it as a fraction as 20 over 100, or if it's actually simplified, it can be even shown as 1 over 5. As a decimal, I can show it as 0.2. You can understand they are all interchangeable forms. All of these are the same. One is a percentage, one is a fraction, one is a decimal. Very commonly, you might be asked to convert between them and apply them in real-world questions. Let's look at this simple question here. What is 35% of 240? Pause the video if you want to try it on your own. Let's look through the answer, what the answer is. Percentage means it's out of 100. It means as a fraction, 35 divided by 100. And we need, or if as a decimal, it will be 0.35. To get the answer, we can do 240 multiplied by 35 divided by 100. We can cancel off the zeros here. This is basic solving between division and multiplication. Multiply by 5, you get 2 here, and you get 7 here, 12 here. So 12 into 7, you will have the answer, which is, the answer you will get 12 into 7, which will be 12 into 5 is 60. We'll have 84 as the answer. The answer will be 84. 35% of 240 is 84. Now option A is 72. This is only 30%. It's tempting to stop one step early, but remember, you have 35%. Remember, it's very important, or it's easy, especially if you get a percentage, to convert it into a decimal and solve it. This is the tip I can give you. Next question relating to fractions, decimals and percentages. This is a medium difficulty question. There is a bit of a scenario here. A jacket cost £120. It is reduced by 20%, then by a further 50%. What is the final price. There is more to think here. There's an initial decrease, then a further decrease. First, you have a discount of 20%. You have 120, and if it's a discount of 20%, and if you assume 120 pounds is 100%, that means the total price. Now, after the first discount, you will have 100% minus 20%. This is after the first discount. Am I correct? Yes. You will have some value here. We'll say x. X equals 100% minus 20% will be 80% of 120. 80% of 120. Therefore, we can assume if we want to get the value 120 multiplied by 80% divided by 100, because this is 100, we want to get now 80%. If you solve this, you will get the answer. The answer will be, we can cancel out the zeros. The answer will be 12 into 8, which is 96 pounds. Now, this is after the first discount. Now, there is a further 15% discount. Now, we come into the second part of the question. Now, we assume 96 is 100% new. We can call this the new price. And now, a further discount will be 100 minus 15%. That will be 85% discount. 85% will be the new price, which we have to find. How do we do that? You add 96 multiplied by, we need to get 85% of this, we have 100%. When you solve this, you should get the answer, which is 81.60 pounds. 81.60 pounds. You can use your calculator to get this. If I multiply this by 4 first, I will have 24 here, and I will have 25 here. Then if I multiply this by 5, I'll have 5 here, 1 here, 7 here. Then I multiply by 5, I will have 3.4. The answer would be 24 into 3.4, which will give us 81.60. 81.60, or we can say 81 pounds will be the closest answer. Follow the steps very clearly. Now remember, option B is 78 pounds. That is what you get if you add the two discounts together. If assume this is the trick answer, if you add, for an instance, 20 plus 15 and you get a total of a 35% discount from the original price, which is 120 pounds, you will get 78 pounds. But that is not how we do it. First, we need to get the initial 20%. Then from the new price, we need to get a further 15%. That's how you do it. You do not combine the two percentages. This is a good question, a common mistake students make. Now let's move on to the next question. This is with regard to ratios and proportions. This is an easy question. A ratio describes how a total is divided between two or more parts. You can show a fraction as a ratio generally. Generally, you might have ratio questions. It's used to divide things, understand proportions of things. These are the questions where you will use ratios and proportions. For an example, you have question 5. A recipe uses flour and sugar in the ratio 3:1. In the ratio 3:1. These, in a practical sense, you can also get this for shareholding to figure out how much of shares each person may have. We asked here, if you have 270 grams of flour, how much sugar do you need? Pause the video if you have an idea of the answer, how to solve it, try it on your own, and then come back. Let's solve this together. First of all, we need to find one part. Now, we're being told that in the recipe you use flour and sugar in the ratio 3:1. That means total there is 4 portions. 3 portions goes to flour. 1 portion goes to sugar. The next step is to convert this into a fraction. The fraction would be therefore, let me just do it there itself. The fraction would be, as a fraction it would be 3/4 flour of the recipe, 1/4 sugar of the 4 portions. Then, if we are told we use 270 grams of flour, how much sugar do you need? That means 270 grams equals 3/4. 3/4. Now we need to find how much is 1/4. One thing we can do is, we can reverse the fraction to get the total and then figure out the proportion we are looking at. That's one thing we can do, and the most simplest thing. Now we'll find the total quantity. If this is for flour, now we can find the total quantity. How do we do that? 270. It represents 3/4. Now we need to find 4/3. That will be 360 grams. This is the total quantity. Then the quantity of sugar, to find this, what we can do is, we can multiply 360 into this fraction, which is 1/4. And then we will get 90 grams is sugar. The answer option is C, 90 grams. Now option D, 810, comes from multiplying by 3 instead of dividing. If you multiply 270 by 3, instead of actually dividing to get the portion of 1, because remember, another way you can simply do this is, this is 3/4. That means 3 portions are given. You can simply multiply 270 by 3 also and get it as 90 grams. But instead of dividing, if you multiply it, you get 270, and that would be a wrong answer. Remember, of course, more difficult questions can be expected in your aptitude test, especially if you are looking for a more senior role. We have also got these difficult and consultancy level questions for you with regards to basic arithmetic. The link is attached for you to refer to this video as well if you want to cover such questions. Now let's move on to question 6 relating to ratios and proportions. This is a medium difficulty question, a little bit more involved. So Priya, Sam and Aiko share a bonus in the ratio 2:3:5. What was the first step? Find the total proportion. 2:3:5, we just simply can add it. That would be 10. And each one gets, if we talk about Priya is to Sam is to Aiko, each one gets 2/10, 3/10, and 5/10. This is the first step I recommend you do when you have questions regarding ratios and proportions. Convert it to fractions. Go ahead and solve this if the answer. If not, join me. We'll have a look at the answer now. The total bonus is £4,200. Now we're given the total bonus. That means £4,200 equals 10 out of 10. How much more does Aiko receive than Priya? How much more does Aiko receive than Priya? First, we can find it in the form of a fraction. Aiko minus Priya would be 5/10 minus 2/10. We have 3/10. You find 3/10 of the total bonus. You have your answer there. You will have your answer there, which is £1,260 is the difference, is how much Aiko receives more than Priya. It's simple. Now option E, 2,100. If that's your answer, you're not getting the complete answer. You're getting the amount Aiko gets, the total share Aiko gets. You need to go a step further and get the difference between Aiko and Priya's value. This is the simplest way you can solve this question. Moving on to the next one, which is question 7, percentage change and index number. Another area. This is an easy question to start off with. Percentage change measures how much a value has either grown or fallen relative to the starting point. And index numbers express these values relative to a base period. Index numbers come into play when we're talking about price indices. Like you're probably familiar with consumer price index, wholesale price index. These sometimes can help measure things, cost of living, and ultimately even how a country determines its inflation rate will be based on setting a index based on a base period. Now let's look at this question. A product's price rises from 80 to £100. What is the percentage increase? Opportunity for you to pause the video and do it yourself. If not, let's solve it together now. First of all, step 1, what is the actual increase? In absolute terms, that's 100 minus 80, which is £20 is the increase. Now the key rule, percentage change should divide by the original value, not the new one. Percentage change divide by the original value, not new one, or the new value it went to. We don't divide it by £80, we should divide it by £100. This is a common reason, and that's why I'm highlighting it for you, because it's a common area students go wrong when it comes to percentage change questions. Based on this, 20 should be divided by, how much should it go up from? To 80 to 100. 80 is the original. Sorry, I made a mistake earlier. It's not 100 is not the original. 80 is the original. 20 divided by 80 multiplied by 100, because we want to get the percentage. Whenever we want to get the percentage, we have to multiply by 100. Here the answer would be 125%. B would be the answer, 25%. Now remember, the tricky one is if you divide 100 instead of 80, you will get 20%. This would be the wrong answer. Remember, you always look at the original value, not the new one. Let's look at a more medium difficulty question relating to percentage change and index numbers. Opportunity for you to pause the video and attempt it on your own. Let's do it together now. A commodity index stood at 140 in 2022. This is an index. Base year is 2018, and remember the base year is generally always, it will be 100. By 2024, it had risen to 175. What was the percentage increase between 2022 and 2024? You want the percentage increase. Now remember, in this question, the base year 100 is there to distract us. Why? The question is asking the percentage increase between 2022 and 2024. 2022 to 2024, not 2018. Therefore, 2018 is irrelevant in this instance. Find the change between this. How much was it in 2022? 140. It went to 175. It is a 35 increase. Remember, I told you we look at this is the original, this is the new. Always look at the original. The change is 35. You divide the 2022 value, which is 140, our starting point, by we want to get the percentage increase. We were told here that it was increased to by the change, which is 35, and multiply by 100. Here we will have 20. The answer is 25% in this instance as well. Now remember, option A would give you 35%, but this is a trick, because if you look at, you treat the index point gap as the percentage, or you divide it by the base 100, and you ignore 100, you ignore the base here, remember, and you divide by 140, but if you don't, you might get 35%. It's important to understand where you're actually getting the difference and show it systematically to avoid making mistakes. Now let's finally look at the last aspect, which is averages and statistical measures. Generally, with averages, we talk about mean, that is sum divided by the count. That's you're looking at the average. What's the average value? Median, this is the middle value. Mode, that means what appears most number of times. Don't confuse between mean, median, and mode. Understand the differences and, of course, do what the examiner is requiring. Here we have 5 employees' salaries. They are in thousands: 28, 32, 35, 35, 40. What is the median salary? Pause the video and attempt it yourself. Now, median means the middle value when ordered. Median means middle, not the mean. First of all, to get the middle value, we need to arrange the values in order. Arrange the values given in ascending order. Now, if this is given in ascending order, nothing to arrange. Yes, 28, 32, 35, 35, 40. So it is in ascending from smallest to biggest. Therefore, we don't need to arrange it, but we can just simply state it here: 28, 32, 35, 35, 40. What is the median salary? To find the median, what is at the middle? We have 5 values. If it's 5 values, what's in the middle? It's the third value. 35 becomes or 35,000 becomes the middle or the median answer. You need to actually get that as the correct answer in this instance. Now, if you got 34,000, you actually calculated the mean. This is wrong. If you said it was 35,000, yes, it's correct. Hopefully, you didn't mistake it for the mode, because even the mode in this instance is 35. Median is what's in the middle. What's in the middle. Then we can move on to our final question. This is a median difficulty question. The team of 4 people has an average age of 30. Average means we're talking about the mean here. A 5th person joins and the average drops to 28. How old is the 5th person? Pause this video, try to do it on your own, and then check if your answer is correct. Now let's go through the answer together. Remember, the average is changing here. If the average is changing, that means your mean is changing. And the trick here is you want to work with your totals. Work with totals, not the averages you're getting, because that's misleading. So what is the original total? What is the original total? A team of 4 people has an average of 30. That means that the total will be the average multiplied by the total count, or in this instance, people. What is the average? 30 into 4, which is 120. What is the new total? What is the new average? 28. One more person. Now there is 5 people. 28 multiplied by 5 will give you 140. The simple difference is the 5th person's value. The 5th person is the difference between the totals. So you find the difference between the totals. And then you will have the 5th person's value, which is 140 minus 120, which is 20. The age is 20 years. The 5th person is 20 years. The answer would be B, 20 years. Now the tempting shortcut is to take the new average 28 as the answer. But you can't. You need to remember, convert the totals and then subtract to find the difference. These are the 10 questions we went through regarding basic arithmetic, easy and medium style questions. Remember, if you want to practice more, do more time tests, get full solutions on every topic, head to practicetestacademy.com. The link is in the description. And we have got videos for you covering every numerical reasoning topic coming very soon. And we have including data interpretation, word problems, and many more questions which relate to the common aptitude test skills tested in these exams. Also, a kind reminder, make sure you subscribe that you don't miss any new video. And if this video helped you, please give it a share it with anyone who has an aptitude test coming up next. All the best with your preparation. See you in our next video.